everybody, welcome to another episode of the Kaze-Kan Podcast. Feels a little overdue, but we're just gonna get right into it. Not don't have a lot of topics today, but we'll try to wing it as we go. As usual, I'm your host Ed Tama23.
And I'm a mug.
So
So,
the first thing we can just throw right in, for all those Melty Blood fans, get ready to break out those sticks, get into a hotel bathroom or Dubai or anywhere in the world. There you can hold a Melty Blood tournament because Melty Blood 2, baby, it's finally happening.
well, technically it's four, but yeah.
Shh, they don't know.
Oh,
People like me
man.
don't know that.
Yeah, but people like me are extremely hyped. I
Yeah,
already got the stick, and I got my adapters. So whenever someone brings up that excuse, I can't play. Here's an adapter for Microsoft. Here's like an adapter for the PlayStation, and here's an adapter for the Switch.
yeah. You can make excuses for
Choose.
you can make excuses for other fighting games, but even I know it's just like you can't make excuses for Melty Blood. If you've seen all the photos where people are holding tournaments, it's just like there's no
I can't use
excuse.
my. Here's the adapters. Go ahead.
Chance, find a place. There might even be a Melty Blood tournament right now in Chernobyl.
Yep.
But I think the funny thing is I actually heard about this news not because from Maximilian from his tweets, but it wasn't because he was excited for it. It was mostly because the only thing he really was excited for is the rollback. But I think in the tweet he says he wasn't really excited because for some strange reason Max is one of the people, like, despite being in the FGC and all that, he still has like a weird distaste for like anime fighters. I always found that weird. I mean, because it's just like majority of like fighters are kind of anime. I mean, they're technically Japanese too, but I mean, Tekken doesn't count because it doesn't have that stuff. But I don't know. It's really weird when you like really.
Well, when it does have that stuff in there. I mean, Lucky Chloe. I can go on whatever. It's like the only game that doesn't have like zaniness to it on the anime level. Would well, according to Westerners, would had to be either Mortal Kombat or Killer Instinct. That's
Yeah,
about it. Cause,
those are legit,
but everything
literally.
outside of that, no.
Those are literally Western games. Like they were developed by Western studios. But now other than that, like it's like, oh yes, it'll now have rollback, and the people that always, it's like, oh yay, it has rollback, hooray! Then I can tweet about it and then say I'm excited for it, and then never pick up the game because I'm just like that. I'm not saying for me. I'm just saying
But
for.
no, but notice if it takes off with streamers and whatnot, and a lot of people are streaming it, watch how he'll try to hop on it and say, "All right, guys, we're trying this out." Da 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 da. And then if he notices not that many people are watching it, he'll immediately drop it.
Yeah, it's kind of yeah. It's weird. Like remember when Under
I
Night.
because I see the pattern because I know people will say, "But he plays Guilty Gear." He only plays Guilty Gear because that's where the views are at.
Yeah, especially with the Strive game coming out.
Because
Um,
if no one cared about Strive, he wouldn't be giving it attention.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, but like even for even other people outside of Max, like when Under Night in Birth got announced for Evo. Remember when like people were excited, but then you had those people like, what? Why would that? Why? It's like cause people play fighting games. That's a fighting game, and it has its
Well,
audience.
it's not going to get that many numbers. And
It did.
then it got numbers.
Yeah, it's like people gotta like I don't know. It's like it's weird. Uh, it's just like because again, I'm more of a bystander when
Well,
it
that's
comes
just
to
a
the
fluke. It's like, yeah, Under Night was a fluke too. Okay.
yeah. But I'm like a side. I'm in the side benches when it comes to FGC games. I play fighting games with my friends and whenever I get a chance. But as far as like going to tournaments and all that, I don't really go. Like if somebody's playing it on at a convention or something, I might jump in, but I'm usually to the side because it's just like I'm more of like I like watching it more of a spectator. But I've always noticed it was so weird how people just who man, I lost my train of thought, but it had to do with just like anytime like Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear. Like it's like apparently there's like a weird shock like what anime fighters? It's like you guys aren't making it's like McDonald's. It's like hey, McDonald's sells 1 billion hamburgers a year. It's just like there's only like a few billion people in America. It's only like so many people from where you're like for us in the US. And it's just like I'm not a mathematician, but the amount of people like people buying McDonald's, the ratio, like, and people saying that they don't like McDonald's, I think somebody's lying. It's like some weird. Oh no, it's like some weird high school mentality. So oh, you play anime fighters? It's like yeah, there's no other anime. I mean, there's no other fighters other than Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct and one for me and
I mean,
Injustice.
excuse me for not wanting to play Street Fighter 5 right now.
Yeah. Um, because but even Street Fighter is considered like if you really want to get down to it, people get mad, but like technically Street Fighter is an anime fighter. I mean the 3D models, but like when it was 2D, it had more of an anime style more than a Western appeal. But no, it's just for me, Mortal Kombat just doesn't look fun. Like had fun with X, I had fun with 9, but 11 just doesn't do anything for me. Uh,
That's the usual. It's the NRS cycle to where it comes out for a little bit. People have fun. They devoted to it. They play it for a little while, and then it's just bored. Next game comes out. That cycle continues.
and with Killer Instinct, it's dead. I mean, people are trying to revive it, which no ill will to the developers and everything, but I mean, like that's what happens with Microsoft. Tries to like, it was like as soon as the Xbox One didn't sell, it's just like, all right, yeah, we're just gonna stop. Like if the console did well, maybe Killer Instinct could have had a chance of becoming the next big thing, but it was like dead
But
on
that's not what
arrival.
happened.
Yeah, even though it got
That
PC
is
release,
not what happened.
even with and I mean
They,
Max trying to bring it back, and it's just like that was weird. That came out of nowhere, but again, it's just like I like Killer Instinct. I like the style. I like the characters. I like the game. But it's just like yeah, nobody I know is gonna like be like, oh man, I can't wait for the when they revive Killer Instinct because that's not gonna happen. I mean, because they tried. Microsoft's like, if it didn't work the first time, better not do it at all. That's why you only have Halo and Gears of War when you buy an Xbox.
yep.
Because at least with PC and PS4, you have options. I mean, if you're going to play fighting games and if it's on PS4, chances are if you really want to play online, regardless of rollback or whatever, you're just going to have to play it on PS4 because that probably will have a lot more player support than the PC one. Because anytime I try to, like, I look up at the Steam reviews of certain fighting games, and it's just like a lot of them are like, it's good, this game's good, it's fun, but there's like nobody playing. And
Mhm.
I think you can probably get a match in PS4s before you do in PC. Because even though but that's always been like that. PC has never really been the definite like place to play fighting games. You can set up some private
But it is
lobbies.
convenient for everything else, though.
Yeah. No, yeah, of course. And even to like emulate games that don't have a re-release on consoles, like other older fighting games, just to play them. Not so much as to like have high-level tournaments, but like, like if you're gonna,
It just reminded me I had to hook you up with strikers.
yeah. Um, that's another thing of strikers. For anybody, I've been meaning to play that. I've seen some people play it. Mug here says that it's all right, but we're kind of a little biased when it comes to warrior games. Musou games. Like they're okay. They're not really like the best. They're like good for spectacles, but overall you're kind of getting the same thing. And my biggest
Essentially, I would have had more fun with this game if it was a Devil May Cry knockoff. I would be fine if it was that, but it's not. And so the only thing we have is Musou formula. And like I said before in the past, if you played one Musou game, you've played all the Musou
yeah.
games.
And I bought Hyrule Warriors, but that one, my problem with that one was the mission setup. Like some of them, it's just like I would play them like just to even just kill time, but my problem with them is that they're just the mission setup is so boring. Like, oh, it's like defend this one, take over these areas, and wait a minute, this one that you just took over just got taken over by the enemy. And then the boss appears, and that's fine, but like,
Oh, would you look at that? Your teammates can't defend your base for shit. You better go back and get it. Oh boy, look at that. You only got 30 seconds. You better rush back.
it's just like, uh, but I mean, it is like I did like the One Piece ones, but again, it's mostly because oh look, I get to play as my favorite characters. That's why I want to get strikers because I want to play as my favorite characters. Like I don't really like for me, I'm already like on
But
the
even then, they don't have the oomph.
yeah. I mean,
And
yeah,
you get what I'm saying when I say the oomph. Like when
yeah.
you
When
play
when,
as
when you brought up
Nero or
Devil
Devil May
May,
Cry, when you slam him on the ground, it feels like you slamming him on the
yeah,
ground.
that's another thing. Is like people think, oh, you just want all this complex combat, and it's like not really. You all you have to do is just make like if you slam a character into the ground, like you said, if they get slammed into the ground, there's impact. Devil May Cry has impact when you're doing combos and all that stuff, especially when you play as Nero. Like Nero, when he slams dudes to the ground, it's satisfying. Like when you're doing some like insane combos and you do something that makes something explode and you time it right, it's just like, and it's funny because
Because I don't know if it's just me, but I did Mechadolan and Strikers, and that just felt it just felt like I was just mowing grass. Unlike the source game to where you use Mechadolan, you fucking shit up.
yeah, and he's
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, it's a lot of it's supposed, but again, it's what ifs. Like we play Devil May Cry and all those action games, and like even like I think in terms of like complexity, Bayonetta is the most complex in terms of combos and stuff like that. But I still would go back to Ninja Gaiden or Devil May Cry over Bayonetta because like in
But even then, they also have the oomph whenever you do stuff like if you Bayonetta, if you punch someone with a
yes, the
giant
Wicked
fist, it
Weaves,
feels like you're doing
the
it.
Wicked Weaves,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, no, yeah, no, but I mean like I just meant
And
like
Ninja Gaiden, when you do combos, you feel like you wrecking the person's shit.
yeah, or just doing a square triangle, square triangle into an Izuna drop. It's just like the way the camera zooms in when the guy's head hits the ground when you do that spin and it zooms like it's a lot
Or you
to
do
it.
this when I drop off of 3 stories and you know they did.
And like Ryu doing all these moves and like the camera like when a character loses a limb and you press triangle, he does his execution where he like cuts off more of their limbs in their head. But like the camera's like Ninja Gaiden doesn't have like again Devil May Cry's complexity is the weapon switching, but it's not in terms of combat, it's really limited combos, but it's about how fast you can switch to the different styles and the weapons. So it's not so like the combos are small, they're not as complex as Bayonetta, but Bayonetta you can only switch between two weapons, and you only have that's it, maybe two different guns too. But here in Devil May Cry 5, you're switching from four different playstyles and whatever weapons you've unlocked, which is all of them. And including, that's not even including if you pop Devil Trigger to do some insane stuff. And or with Nero's with his complex devil arms. But and then taunting and then implementing taunting into it and to keep your combo up. Like in warrior games, you don't have anything. Yeah, you have the meter that does a cool
I mean,
special
you have
attack,
a
but
number and whatnot.
no, but I mean like what I'm saying is that what when doing combos in hell, even in God of War, like God of War is more satisfying to play than a Muso game because, it's visceral. It's just like bam, they know what they're doing. Like killing a
You
bunch of
know
enemies on the
them
screen is
them
not as
blades are
fun.
giving them work.
It's not fun fighting a bunch of enemies that don't do anything. And even if you do a cool
Oh
meter,
no, they do something. It's just, eh, it just gets monotonous after a while.
yeah.
But speaking of which, there's been. I'm actually hyped because there's more good anime coming out. I got
Like
caught up with some of my other animes as well.
I haven't been catching up on anything. I've been watching. I try, but it's. I mostly been. If anything, I've been reading the past few months.
Yep.
Oh, excuse me. Like I read Redo of Healer. I read Records of Ragnarok, which is getting an anime, by the way. It's going to be streaming exclusively on Netflix, but that's not really an issue for anybody who doesn't have a Netflix account, if you know what I'm saying. Um, so
Yep.
far, I've seen a little bit of trailer of it. It might be good. I just think that the manga is a lot better because the artists, the way they draw facial expressions and all that, it's just insane. I think Chainsaw Man is getting an anime too, but I think that's like, but it's doing good. I've been reading that one. I've been reading it on Manga Dex, but that got taken down, so I just have to find an alternate source.
Again. Seems like it's always the case. Oh, they took down the source. Not like we got 40 other sources that we can go to, right?
Yeah, and it's just funny because it's just like people wonder why people still torrent and pirate. It's just like for in the U.S., okay, you might have like a excuse, like oh because you're not help supporting the industry, but then it's just like uh, hey, I'm in Indonesia and I can't watch or Funimation dub. I can't stream that because Funimation's not available in my country. Crunchyroll is not available in my country. It's just like I have no
Well, I
actual.
wanted to watch interspecies reviewers, but y'all canceled it. So
Yeah.
it's like had
Eh,
money ready for you and all that. Nope.
I don't know. It's just funny because
Uh,
like it's funny because redo of Healer like that was like I remember all that controversy around it. It's not even that bad. It's really like I don't know. I've read some stuff, but even like compared to like ooh, good lord. Um I think like that Island of Giant Insects. I think that one's a lot more like ooh, like and it's just like it kind of knows it, but with
this is not Gantz, so
yeah, but like it's okay with
uh,
Gantz because it's a lot more different. It's because I don't know. It's just weird how certain animes. I think it's like get excuses. Well, it's okay with that. Like if you imagine if the guy who did Cowboy Bebop
but
did
actually that's a good question. Would Gantz be able to come out today without getting scrutiny, or you think it will be put under the bonfire?
uh yes and no. Cuz an example. Okay, so remember Devilman Crybaby?
Yeah.
Like Devilman Crybaby was pretty grotesque and everything and all that jazz. But like the series it originates from is really dark. The original manga was dark too. I mean, it's tamed. No, it's not. I think in terms of like tamed, and I'm not even talking about the Toei version, which is very lighthearted and more of a shonen. The original manga and is gruesome. There's a lot of deaths that happen, and it's gore. It's not as edgy as the OVA, the Resurrection of Amon, that one was like edgy for the sake of being edgy. Like that one wasn't even good. Like the if you watch the OVAs of Devilman, like the one that takes place during when he awakens, and then when he fights Siren, those two are the good OVAs. I really like the English dubs of them because how cheesy they are, and like those are really well animated, but they're also really violent. Like I don't know, it's just I think people it's like it's a new generation, so a lot of people are like I don't know, people that are now 20 grew up on Sword Art Online, and I'm not trashing on it. I'm just saying like that's like tame. It's like a lot of animes that that have come out are like really tamed compared to like I don't know. It's like some series have gruesome moments, but it's like not even. It's they're so far in between when you get to them. You know, like Gantz doesn't have like people dying in every single chapter, and in Redo a Healer, it's just like not like It's just I don't know. Is if you
Who's gonna get raped today?
yeah
That's pretty much Redo the Healer in a nutshell.
yeah, and again, to be fair, the people that get what happens to them is they started it at first. They're not good people. They do that to almost all the people in the city they have power over. They do it because they know they can. And like the main character is not supposed to be like someone you idolize, but it's it's just like I mean, I think there's another isekai where the dude is a psychopath, and he's just, he comes into this new world, and the first thing he wants to do is just kill people. I need to find it, but it's just like people always complain about isekai. I think it's just because it's not even is it an isekai?
Nope.
No, right? It's just he was already in that world. I mean, people think
Yep.
people. The isekai argument has lost all
It's a
meaning.
sci-fi Dungeons and Dragons.
Technically, everything D&D is an isekai because any Western show that you watch is an isekai. When people say, "Oh, I don't like isekais," I'm like, you know what? Shut up. I'm not even gonna, because it's just like you hate it. You hate fun, not because like all the isekais out there are good.
To me, it's this. It's like, do you want to go back to the old days where the only thing we seen in anime was moe blobs and high pitched squeeze every 5 seconds? Is that what you want to go back to?
Yeah, we're kind of like in this golden age. I mean, Kobayashi Dragon Maid's getting another season finally. I mean, and I don't mean that like, oh, what took them so long. I know what happened. I'm just saying, I'm happy. Like finally, I get to be happy. I get to watch a series that I want to watch. And there was controversy
Yep.
around that one too. And it's just like, and then people are really weird to have it be on a high horse 1 minute and then immediately be like, oh, so what if they died in that fire? Who cares? It's just like they were creating pedophilia. It's like, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. Shut up. Any anime I don't like involves pedophilia and lolis and shotas, and I don't know what any of this means, but I want to act like I'm superior, even though I probably would get shoved in a locker like all the people I make fun of.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it's funny because honestly, I wouldn't. It's true. Some people, like, if somebody says, "Well, you wouldn't have watched or seen any of these shows if it didn't get brought up," and it's like, yeah, I know. Thank you for the free advertisements.
Yep.
It's funny because people like when Kobayashi's Dragon Maid came out. It's like I know this the reason why that one was because
I heard about it, but I didn't hear about the rage. I just seen it. I was like, it looks wholesome and lighthearted.
it was.
And
It
then
is.
I
It
heard the
is.
opening. I was like, oh, it's just a silly show, but I'll give it a chance.
It's a really good show, and it's like they act like, oh my gosh, this character is like a little girl and she's like 1,000 years old, and at 1 minute she's naked. It's like, what are you talking about?
No, no. See, that's where you stop them. It's like, so you were, so instead of looking at all the other stuff that was going on in the show, that's what you focused on.
Yeah, like
Are
Kana.
you into that, bro? No, 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 no. It's like I'm watching a wholesome show about a maid trying to live. It's like you, on the other hand, you looking at girls naked and whatnot and trying to rationalize it. But if you do that, then they stop.
It's funny because it's just like all the shonens that come out, all like Senten Academy, Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, like or any other niche show that comes out, people are like, "Oh my gosh!" And it's just like, you guys are gonna forget about this series in a few months. So I mean, half of these shows only do good because in the first few months, people like you are like, "Oh, look at this, it's terrible," and it's just like, oh, like Senten
Or
Academy is like,
kind of
"Oh,
like
look,
how
all
that
the
other what was that manga? You probably heard about this girl bullying this dude. Apparently they making a stink about it, but I'm just thinking to
please bully
myself,
me, Nagatoro-san."
yeah.
I'm
I look at a couple pictures on, and then I seen the premise of the story. I was like,
what's the other one?
oh,
What's the one with the
okay.
it's exact opposite design character design? I mean, they both had the tooth and their smug smile, but it was the one with the senpai. It's the white haired girl with the huge boobs.
What, Zaki-chan?
Yeah, yeah, Uzaki-chan. See, those two are both almost exactly the same, except I prefer Nagatoro-san. Like, um, because Uzaki-chan got the same type of treatment, but lo and behold, it's just like, yeah,
People
they know
watched
their
it anyway.
audience, but like, it's I don't know. It's just like
It's like there's no way that could be possible. It's like, yeah, you never heard of grown adults that have baby faces, but let's go.
I mean,
What are you talking about? It's like, yeah, there are some adults that look younger, even though they're like very old. That happens.
yeah, and it's just like yes, there are such things as short women who have huge like assets. It's just a thing, and I don't know.
I
Everybody.
mean, why you think some people get mad when it's like, please present your ID, and they're like 31, and they know they're 31, but they don't look 31, and because they don't look 31, that's what it's like. Nah, let me see your ID. No, that's fake. It's like, no, I'm actually 31. I was born at this time. Nah, kid, get out of here.
See, I and the funny thing is that
And then
I
when you have another person be like, what's your problem, bro?
where we live, and even me, I am part of a Hispanic family. Hispanics, especially Mexicans, are known for being short. And the thing is that I know a lot of short people, aunts, cousins, friends, family, who look like you. It's really hard to tell, but at the same time, like I have a lot of short aunts that are like when people say like no grown woman is that short, and it's like, excuse me, is the Mexican community a joke to you? Like it's just,
Or you haven't heard of midgets, but okay.
and not even like that. It's just all kinds of like various body types exist, and it's just like for again, this all goes back to it's like they're not real. Like, oh, are we really fighting for the rights of uh pretty much the equivalent of a paper cut? It's just ink strokes and blots on a dotted line. It's just it's all tiresome,
Yep.
and it's just so weird because it's just like, oh, what are they implying? It's like, what are you talking about? Like like it's the show's not even like graphic and sexual or any sort of way. The only time it is when there's
But
fan
you're
art.
trying to make it that way, and
Yeah,
then
because that like goes back to like Shield Hero. Remember that? Like, oh my gosh, it's like oh my gosh, a Shield Hero so tame. Like Goblin Slayer. Oh, Goblin Slayer. It's just like yeah. It's to show you how evil these creatures are in this world. It's to bring in the premise. So when Goblin Slayer enters the room, it's like, oh snap, he's gonna wreck their shit.
Yep.
It's like, and I like again, Goblin Slayer is the thing where I read the manga more than the anime. But I don't know. It's just weird. It's like that's what I
Yeah.
can like. I try to like it. I try to get into Attack on Titan, and Attack on Titan is good, but I really just
I
can't.
need to finish that.
I just can't like. I don't know. I just don't care about it right now. Uh, One Punch Man got some new chapters. A chapter just uploaded a few months ago, and I kind of like that One Punch Man is a series that you don't need to know Japanese to understand what's kind of going on, because I kind of skimmed through it. I have been learning Japanese on an app on my phone, but there's still a lot that I haven't even scratched the surface of. But
Mm.
no, it's oh man, One Punch Man. Speaking of that, I just realized that's what I was going to talk about. My Hero is rumored to be coming to an end soon.
Ah,
So My Hero's wrapping up.
that's a record time. I expect shows like that to go for like another like 5 years or something.
I don't know.
I'm looking at you,
I
One
think the only
Piece.
reason why One Piece has gone on so long is just because it's like the money make it make it just makes so much money. There's nothing that will take its place yet. And honestly, I don't want it to, like My Hero doesn't seem like a series that could have gone on forever. Like it could, but it's like I don't know, it's just like like a lot of
Yeah, but
character.
it's always good that a long animated series gets an ending
Yeah.
instead of just, oh, well, next time.
But you know what? I'd rather have a bunch of short series that are varied across the board than have a few series that go on forever and only if any new shows that come out are like 20, because a lot of shows only get two, gets the cursed 12 episodes, the blessed 24 episodes, and if any lucky, another season after that. Lord knows when they get seasons though.
Apparently not Strike the Blood because they on their fourth season. I was like, how?
Uh,
It's like I thought y'all were done, but here y'all are, a fourth season. I mean,
hey,
I love it. Don't get me wrong.
no, yeah, of course. I don't know. It's just hard. I think it's the whole we're getting up there in terms of ages. I mean, we're not that old, but when we think about how much animes have ended and come and go, and how One Piece is still going even before, we even knew what anime was, it's just like, dang.
No, it's just the fact that we saw Dragon Ball Z in sort of, and then it came back 30 years later. Not actually, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. I remember somebody
So
was like,
we seen Bleach start in and we see Naruto start and end. Same for Inuyasha, and now we have a new Inuyasha. It's like,
man, Inuyasha was one of those that like didn't it start before I think it was out before I was born. But
but the new Inuyasha was good. It's already
the
getting another season.
the Tsukihime, or no, that's not what it's called. Something
No,
something
yeah,
Yashahime, right?
Yashahime.
Think Tsukihime is a different thing. But no, like I'm okay with small series. Like Records of Ragnarok is not really a series that needs to be long. It really is just
But I think we have a formula now,
mm,
to where if you're gonna continue it, it can't be longer than 25 episodes.
yeah.
That's the only thing, because it's better to compress all what happened in a good way into 25 episodes instead of just, hey, we're just gonna keep going. Yeah, let's go do this silly stuff. And it's like, but wait a minute, what happened to the manga? Oh no, nah. We got caught up to the manga, so we're just gonna give you more filler. It was like, no, just
Yeah, like
concentrate
honestly,
everything you
Naruto is not
can
a
into 25 episodes,
yeah.
stop, and then do it again.
Imagine you could probably do this. You could probably cut. I think even people have made a list. where you can cut down a lot of filler time that happened in Naruto and just have like all the major events that happened in the series, like actual events, not ones that happen outside the manga, other than a few occasional episodes. Uh,
Yeah,
but Bleach was one of the infamous ones. It's just like, just read the manga because holy crap, all the filler episodes.
the filler wasn't that bad in Bleach. There was only like two seasons that I didn't like, which was the Bounce saga and the second half of the Zanbakuto arc, but everything else was good.
Yeah. A lot of people I know are like, well, not I say a lot of people, but I mean like my family member. Like, there's like she's really obsessed with Jujutsu Kaisen right now.
I keep hearing about that.
I kind of I wouldn't mind watching it, but it's kind of funny. I'm just like, huh, why do people like this? And I'm like, oh, and then he just changed Jujutsu Kaisen and put the title Naruto. And it's like, oh, okay, that's why. And it's just like it's also because it's really popular amongst like the female demographic because it's a lot of male characters.
Oh, so it's free then. Noted.
Yeah, well, no, there is another free coming out. That's free ran, so free walked, so Yuri on Ice ran, so Jujutsu Kaisen can.
Jumps.
It also a lot. But again, people that I'm joking, but I'm also kind of not because it's just like there's a joke. I mean, there's a thing where Tite Kubo they asked how what he thought about it. He's like, oh, it's good, but we're all the cute girls. And like we all know, is Tite Kubo is like one of the grandmasters of the female design.
Yeah, because he wants to have some form of realism. Like it actually feels as though you can talk to these people. I mean, if you were to take away their powers, they'd be about as normal as you can get. Just people going to school, going to work. That's what he was trying to strive for.
Yeah. I don't know. I would watch Jujutsu Kaisen, but it's not like I'm not like, oh, I have to watch it. There's rarely a few that would catch my mind. Again, I'm more into like I'll probably read it because I can read it faster than I can try to sit through a 30-minute episode. It's just something I don't know. I and also I'm starting to appreciate like when a manga's art style is way better than the animated version of it, or even if it doesn't have an animated version.
Well,
Uh,
that just comes down to the anime studio.
yeah, yeah, of course I know, but
I,
you know,
because take any anime that looks horrible and give it a UFO table, and wow, watch them just make gold.
yeah, oof, UFO table. I do. I swear. I just want to. I do want to sit back and watch an anime, but it's just like I can read about like a whole volume, maybe 2 volumes in a sitting. Whereas when watching something, it's just like to get through 5 episodes, depending if I liked it or not. It's just even shows I want to watch. And the problem is, I think it's also Western shows that kind of ruined me too because Western shows can't, even if they're like, because like I don't really watch animated Western shows.
Sometimes I just do the thing to where if I'm interested in it, I just let episodes build up, and then once when it's over, then I just binge watch it.
Yeah, that's a good. That's
Because
a
I
good
just got
strategy.
through while watching Higurashi, and
The new one,
ooh, that new Higurashi was good. Yeah.
man, isn't that
Uh,
crazy? Out of all the series to come back,
and it's actually a sequel. I thought it was going to be some weird spin-off, like let's go
like a
cook or let's
reboot.
go do something wacky. It's like, no, this is a sequel.
Man, I remember Higurashi. Oh, that takes me back to high school.
I mean, if you watched Higurashi, like the first two seasons, you can pretty much skip past all that other stuff that happened afterwards and watch this new
I didn't
season,
watch it. I read
and
it,
it just continues from that point.
but that was because I did try watching the episodes on YouTube because that was what you would do. But I lost my footing where I was on that show. I need to get like I don't know. I should marathon. I should have a marathon, but again, with the wife and kids, it's not as easy. Because it's like all these shows, any show that I want to watch either has too much gore, too much violence. It's like, not in front of the baby, because I'll wait till he's 10 to mess him up. Because 10, you can kind of process things. Like, I remember when I was 10, you could watch something like RoboCop and be fine.
Oh no, I say be careful on that.
No, I
Uh,
know. But what I'm
And all
saying
the
is
reason why I
that
say that is because of Evangelion.
yeah, I'm not gonna show him Evangelion. It's like imagine being a parent that introduces your kid to Evangelion. I don't hate my I
If
don't
I did have
I don't hate my child. I'm not gonna do that to him.
no, if I did have a kid, I wouldn't show them that until they're like 15.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's who it's kind of aimed at. It's kind of funny when you realize like all these shonens and everything that everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, think of the children." It's like, yeah, this is aimed towards 15-year-olds. Like, I don't think you realize it's just like, oh, there's all these big boobs in these shonens. Like, yes, when I was 15, that's what I was into because puberty is a fickle thing. It's like, what do you think Bleach was so successful? One of my favorite
Yep.
characters from Bleach is a one-off character, a side character. I think her name is Rangi. No, not Rangi. I forgot her name, but she's the fireworks lady.
Oh, there's a lot of people who do fireworks in
No,
that
she's the
show.
one. She has only has one arm.
Oh, okay. I see. I'm remembering her brother's name, but I
Yeah, I
don't
know her
remember her
brother's name because
name.
he was an important. He was not an important, but he was in the arc where they're saying Rukia. Like he had his moment. Ugh, but
Yeah.
it's whatevs, man. It's just like no matter if you try to even if you try to like soften the blow for them, they're gonna try to look for it. I remember when I was like, oh, I need to watch Queen's Blade, and it's just like, oh, that's not good. Just like,
Or it's the number one mistake that all parents make is when they say don't. Because the more you tell a kid don't, the more they're gonna want to do it.
yeah, it's a little bit different now because like I know what anime is.
You have to play it smart, like my parents did, to where they say, "All right, you can have a piece of cake, but when you have a piece of cake, you ain't gonna eat nothing but cake for a whole week." No, no, I want some meat. No, no, you want one cake? Here's another cake. No, I don't want no more cake. That's not what actually happened to me, but that's a perfect
No,
example of
I
how
get
you
it,
can handle
I get
stuff.
it. Um, no, it's just like it's so weird. Like people have like this. I don't know. It's like who are you trying to protect? Like it's just like your children or somebody else's children. Because if you're concerned about somebody else's children, you need to take a step back. It's just like 'cause it's just like anime and is not like it's just weird. It's just like I went to convention. I don't know. It's just I'm seeing all this like stuff going on, and it's just like, oh, what a surprise! People that are really defending on things are actually creeps, and I mean, there's a reason why people joke about the Smash community. It's just like, oh, what a surprise! A family-friendly party game is full of people that are not so family-friendly. And worst off is that they're front and center of the community. Prime example was Zero's case. So it's like, oh, one of the top Smash players, and it's like, oh, he won these tournaments. He was on the stage of E3 Nintendo's tree. Like all that stuff, and it's just like, oh my gosh, what a surprise. I'm just using him as an example. I'm not saying he's like the worst out of it.
It's like, who would have thought? Or it's like one of my other friends whose parents said, once when you introduce alcohol and gambling into it, whatever you think is pure is not. And I was like, yeah, yeah, you're right, because alcohol brings in destruction, and
Yeah.
gambling adds to that destruction.
For me, it's just like, look, I tend to stay away from like I put on Blues Clues for my boy, and that's it. If I don't try to get into like the Blues Clues fandom like, like that's stupid.
Wait, there's a fandom?
If there is, I wouldn't know about it. I'm saying is just like what I'm
No,
saying
yeah,
is,
be curious for a while. I was like, wait a minute.
look,
I'm now imagining a person going
there's
like,
a
I
fan. Look,
remember when Steve used to
if
be on the show.
it's no different from like Steven Universe. You know, it's just like, oh, well, that's different. No, it's not. It's a children's show. You're 30 years old. You know, it's like anime has a kind of a demographic, but it's just like most people don't really. It doesn't really. I don't know. Like it's so weird. Like Sword Art Online is mostly like a shonen, but I think the newer series that I think they kind of know that the people that grew up with Sword Art Online are old enough or older because the stuff I've seen from the newer
And they
series,
can spend money.
yeah, like for me it's just like, all right, you know what, Sword Art, I really don't know where all the hate came from. I want to make a documentary like called "Where Did All the Hate from Sword Art Online came from?" Because I mean, even
Because
if you didn't
someone
like it,
thought that I don't like it, it shouldn't be cool.
it was
And
just
the
a run
more
of
he
the
said I don't like it, the more people loved it.
because it's like, hey, it's one of the most popular shonens, and it's just like it got like how many movies?
About three?
I
Three
honestly I
movies.
expected more, but that's okay. That's pretty good. But it got a lot of games. Ironically, no, not ironically, because the ironic thing about the games is that they're not really good.
No, some of them are, but not all of them. Like
Yeah, I
Sword
know.
Art,
Like it's
Hollow Fragment, and Hollow Realization was good, but everything else is like, eh.
I know. I'm just saying, like, it's one of those where it's just like, hey, anime about video games doesn't have a lot of like. You would think the games would be good, but that's not really the case. There's not if because like Naruto has good games, but only because they're spectacle fighters. They're not really something that you really like play for the depth and open world and stuff like that. There is a really good
But that's the weird thing. They tried to make it that way, but it just wasn't. But then again, I prefer for the Clash of Ninjas over the Ultimate Ninja Storm. So, because it's simple and to the point. No, oh, we're gonna roam around the world, sort of, but not really.
yeah. I
And
don't know
we're
why they
gonna
try to do
retell
that.
the
It's like
episodes, sort of, but not really.
I would like
Yeah.
honestly I would. There are some game animes that I would like to play like a game like because the only ones that do it are like really high. Is right now is either One Piece or Dragon Ball. Mostly One Piece. Like One Piece has some like, but they don't really look that good either. You know, it's just like it's kind of weird because like a lot of the games look like they're made in Unreal Engine, but Luffy still looks like a PS2 model. Well, not like no a PS3 model. Like it looks like they ported the PS3 model because he doesn't. They don't look that detailed, and that's fine because if they because they're like a very cartoony art style, and it's just like they could just do
Very easy to render. Just put some shaders, get basic toon rendering going on, and you're good to go.
like I'd rather play a game that looks more like I don't like those games. I don't like that era. Like I don't like Jump Force. I don't like the art style in Jump Force. Stay away from that for me. I can't stand when they try to make anime.
But but that's the thing. People still love Jump Force, and
No,
it
it's
just
because it's their
it's a head
favorite
scratcher.
characters.
Why?
It's because it's just Shonen Jump characters. That's really it. That's it. I mean,
Don't
they
you
didn't.
got Mugen for that though?
Even J Stars had a better art, more consistent art style than that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
But nobody played J Stars.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like it's I don't know. It's one of those games I think that they can like continue to do stuff, but but now we're getting to the era where Japan's like, hey, battle royale shooters are getting really popular. Because now we got like what Final
mm,
Fantasy has a battle royale shooter. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has a battle royale game. I mean, it's arcade only, but and it's only
people
Japan.
like battle royales, and it's fine, but I don't care about battle royales.
It's kind of ironic that they never actually try to make a battle royale using the battle
I mean,
royale
I'm
franchise.
fine. I'm fine with them
You know
though.
what I'm talking about?
And the only reason why I'm fine with battle royals now is just because A, it's not a first person shooter that's in a grim, dark, brown setting.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know. When it comes to
man.
games, I've mostly been playing anything indie. And if I do want to play a more AAA game, it's usually either a fighting game that still hasn't been reduced price. Looking at you, Grand Blue Versus. I just want to try it. I don't want to fucking buy it for $70 and maybe even $120 for Character Pass for a game that nobody's playing online.
Hmm.
But
Why not just get? Do they have a port for Grand Blue, or is it just PlayStation 4?
Grand Blue Versus is on PC and PS4. But I'm saying is that like even if I wanted to pay, I could have bought it for like $38. It was on sale one time. But my problem is that other than that, it's usually just it's still full price despite nobody playing it. And like I'm willing to put
Oh,
money in.
someone's playing it.
I know there's people that you can set
Uh,
up lobbies and everything, but um and I know that there are Psy Games is working on a Grand Blue more open adventure game. I think they're using Platinum Games to do it, but that's still been in development hell because I haven't heard anything from them. Platinum.
Pretty much what you're talking about is more of a game issue, like the fact of Dead or Alive 5 being over $1,000 and no one thinks that's a problem.
It is, yeah, it is. Like, and
It's
Venus,
like,
they
well, you don't have to get it. It's like, yeah, no, I don't. That's why I got the PC mods. Bypass all that.
not even. It's just I don't know. Like, I'm one of those. I'm starting to become those people that like, look, if you're gonna play a game that has a little bit of etchy in it, it's just like you might as well just play a straight up H game. Like, I think you should just cut them. Stop beating around the bush and start beating your meat. Like, it's just
But
like,
they already do have those games.
yeah, but like, imagine spending. Because even like
I mean,
me,
that's what
us.
visual novels are, just as far as I know.
No, yeah, of course. Like, if honestly, I think that's a. Honestly, um, without saying too much, I kind of am working on something like that, but not really. Like, I don't want to say too much because I if I do, I start talking about it, and then if I talk about an idea, I never get it done. But I am.
We'll see it on Steam and it'll get review bombed
I hope it gets review
because you're
bombed.
getting too hyper political. Nah.
No, honestly, if I do like the most thing I I do want it to have like heavy story in it, but it also is going to be something like towards like yeah, it's just like F it, just like it's the beach episode everybody. It's like cuz I mean, I'm not going to like it's so weird. I always see some people like, "Oh, I hate anime games" cuz and then they make a oh, look, it's a deconstruction, but yet it does almost every single stereotype that they're trying to deconstruct. It's like Doki Doki Literature Club is not a deconstruction. If anything, it's just another generic visual novel. It's like, oh look, the
No, it is a deconstruction if you actually played a bunch of visual novels before prior to it.
I know. What I'm saying is, it's just that like it's not really like ooh, it.
I mean, is it groundbreaking?
No, that's what I'm
No,
saying. It's just like
because
it's not that
the
deep.
concept of a deconstruction is not new. It's just it appears in different forms, and this will have to be the first time like I've seen a major deconstruction of Japanese visual novels because we all know how well to the people who like know anime, we know how visual novels work. You play, and one of these girls is gonna be best girl, and one of your best girls is gonna be the main girl, and if you make your right calls, then you get in. If you don't, then you get the normal, boring, vanilla ending, and
Yeah, I
that's
know.
it.
But what I'm saying
That's
is
pretty
that
much
like
visual novels in a nutshell.
it's just like
And Doki Doki is like nah. Here's what would happen if you really acted this way. It's like, ooh, that guy's an asshole. It's like, yeah, like all other people in visual novels. It's like, yeah, yeah, that's what actually happened.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's like a roast con pollo is roast con pollo. Chicken and rice is chicken and rice. I mean, for the average person, it's like, yeah, it's to me, it's just like, oh, it is interesting what it did, but at the same time, it was kind of like, oh, okay, like, but I mean, I'm not a person who plays visual novels. Like, I had played some that maybe have something in it. Like, I'm okay with storytelling in a game. I'm okay if it's gonna be have a lot of text in it, if it's crucial to the story. But my thing is that I'm kind of those people that I want to have gameplay to
You
it,
only, pretty much, you only read a visual novel if you really like the franchise.
or that's what it is, you know.
Because, like, say for instance, you ever heard of a franchise called the Fruit of Gresha?
No.
Yeah, it was a good anime, and I thought they weren't gonna make another one, and they did. And then I figured out that it was based off of a visual novel. I was like, all right, let me try the visual novel. It's like, ooh, it's like a bunch of stuff that happened that didn't happen in the animes in the visual novel, and it's a little bit more darker. And it's like, yep. But that's rarely the only time I particulate into that because I actually like the show, and I was like, all right, get the visual novel, try.
Yeah.
But that's about it. If it's just if someone were to say, "Hey, have you tried this visual novel?" It's like, No, no, I don't. I really don't care."
Yeah.
It's like if I seen it and I like the franchise that much, I would. Because I can tell you right now, they had a visual novel for Car Captain Secure. Hell yeah, I'm diving into that shit.
It's
But yeah,
uh, I just I just don't know. I was just like I just find it weird that I was just kind of trying to segue into like the idea. I don't know. It's like anytime I see something that has to do with anime, somebody I don't know. I just find it weird that
S-
when I
you know
just
what,
see
the fact that people try to make it deeper than it needs to be, and then when you call them out on the silliness of it, then they be all like, Well, you just got trash taste," and I was like,
it's like because like I
"You the one who started the conversation, dude."
because like I like Cowboy Bebop, but Cowboy Bebop, if you really like, even in terms of just on its own merit, like if you try to compare it to another thing, like a movie or a thing, it's okay. It's not like a perfect 10 compared to like it's just like what I tell some
It
like
defined what anime should be, and that's how I just see it as. I don't see it anymore more than that because, like Dragon Ball Z, it has its problems. Now, because I said that, that doesn't mean, oh, you hate Cowboy Bebop. It's like, no, I can acknowledge. It's like everything we like is not perfect. I mean, to this day, people are still finding out new bugs from like Sonic the Hedgehog games. Whether it's 1, 2, 3, 06, they're still finding stuff in there. They're still finding weird anomalies in Zelda Ocarina of Time.
yeah, but that's like that's not what I mean. I mean more like in terms of like the subject matter, like glitches and all that stuff. It's like it's just. But that's the thing. You'd only find it if you played it for hours and hours and hours. And for most people, like playtesters and the developers, it's just like, look, does it break the game? Does it delete their saves? No.
Are
Okay.
you falling through the floor? Yes or no?
Yeah. I mean, because half of the glitches are like you have to do some like all the speedrunning tricks. You really have to like go out of your way for it.
I never would have thought to do the shield glitch in the Ocarina of Time. I that would never come to mind. But yeah, people or the backwards long jump in Super Mario 64 where they just break the game.
Yeah. And most of it, it's weird because like some of it can only happen on certain cartridges too. Like I remember
Yeah,
the
because like the a certain version got, I think the Japanese version got patched out, and then they put that same version on the Switch.
yeah, like I didn't know the even like the red and blue, like Pokemon Red and Blue, like Blue technically fixed a lot of things that were broken in Red. I didn't know that.
Hmm.
It's just like, but no, it's just I can forgive like glitches and stuff. My thing is just like when it comes to like stories and all that. I will say this: the West knows how to do a lot more dynamic character interactions, where to the point where the characters actually feel like that's what they would say in a situation like that. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Uh, Final Fantasy and Square Enix is starting to learn that. Like Final Fantasy 15 showed, like, oh my gosh, they're learning. They made these characters like like Prompto and Ignis and Noctis and Gladio, like
Yeah,
them talking to each other
yeah, they're
feels
relatable.
legit. Like no, but it like not even just relatable. It
I
just feels
like that
authentic.
moment where Ignis was like driving me and whatnot. It was nighttime. He said, "Bruh, we should camp." Nah, man, we fine. Okay, but you driving.
Yeah,
What you
yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah. No, I mean like even the beginning when they're pushing that car, like oh my gosh, it's just like they're just acting like guys. Like oh my gosh, these are human beings. Um,
Yep.
but I will say in terms of spectacle, in terms of music, and especially with voice acting, like I know some people say, well, you only like Japanese voice acting because you can't understand their like no, that is not true. That is not true. That is not true. I'll say it like this: there are some really talented VAs that are out there in English, but the problem with the dubbing and series
What,
with
you mean the same five VAs that we hear in every single
I'm getting into
show?
that. That's another issue. Like to be fair, like Japan like but the thing is that like if you're a VA in Japan, they treat like you're kind of like a celebrity. You're like almost if not as popular as an actor in the movies because, but like you're like if you do anime cartoon voices, you're still a nobody here in the US, you know. And that's also kind of the fact that there's not a lot of dubbing companies. I mean, we do have now Sentai Filmworks and what was the other one beside? I know I'm trying to think outside of Funimation. Uh, G Kids, but they're mostly doing like movies.
Oh,
G Kids,
I never heard of them. This is the first time.
G Kids is, but they're mostly just re-releasing and republishing. Like I don't know if they're using. I don't know if they got the Funimation. They got the original crew for to dub. Maybe they're using Funimation, but maybe they're just a distribution. But like I know Sentai Filmworks does their own dubbing too. But right now, Funimation.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem. We know what Funimation is over the voice actors in general. Like we don't, and even in just Western media, like if a voice actor, they're a dime a dozen. They can be replaced if they don't play by the rules. Where in Japan, it's just like if a character dies before their voice actor, if a person dies, you know, like they kind of like Heihachi, like I know they kind of like got a little lenient on it, but or like Eddie from Guilty Gear, when the voice actor of Eddie died, when Guilty Gear came out, XR'd, it was you didn't play as Eddie, you played as Zato One, which is the guy who he's possessing.
Hmm.
But it's just little things, It's just that like it's just kind of like their moment of silence for them, cause it sucks. It sucks when a VA dies, like when I forgot his name. He's from Hunter x Hunter, and he plays the guy Leorio. Leorio's VA died that recently. That sucked. You know, it's like despite them being animated characters, people play their roles to their heart's content. Yes, there's a lot of
Hey,
range
but
that
we
you can.
rarely get anyone outside of those same voice actors, though. which is sad. Because anytime I watch a new dub, oh, hi Johnny, hi Vic, hi Monica.
Well, it's no, it's only for the big shows. For the smaller shows, they get people that they've like found on the streets, which is not an insult. I'm just saying like if they're bad, there's no real quality check unless of course they're dealing with like the high tier voice actors like you mentioned.
Yep.
And then there's the whole localization issue, which shouldn't be an issue, but here we are. It's like
Look at these donuts.
it's almost equivalent to that. Like they're just changing it because it's like they know they can, and nobody could stop them. And it's just like, all right, then we're just not gonna buy it. And it's like, what a surprise! The industry, nobody's supporting the industry because the people that are working in it are terrible people.
Yep.
I think the only voice actress I like, really like, I'm down for is Jeremy Lay. Hope I'm pronouncing her name right, which is Makoto's VA, and she plays like almost everybody else.
Yep.
She's good. And there's some pretty good VAs that who were
We
in.
just need more VAs in English
For me
because it's
though,
like I'm
it's
just tired of hearing the same few all the time.
for me though. I think what I need is if to anybody out there who's aspiring VAs, um, just know that if you're going to voice act, you also kind of need to take in the fact that you're kind of also acting too, and it goes a long way. Like I'm not aspiring to be a voice actress actor myself, but if I always thought like, well, maybe if I had to dub some things for like any indie projects that I do to like, okay, this is me doing it. This is how I want them to do it. So when I do get a voice actor or actress to play the part, they'll know how exactly what I want them to sound like. Because that's another thing with directors is that's another thing with Funimation and all that. You also probably have bad directors who are just like, oh, just do your thing. And then you got people who are supposed to be yelling, who are yelling like they're talking, but they don't want to wake their parents in the other room. It's like, all right, cool. It's just like I need to see that you're acting. Like I need to hear it. You can tell when somebody's like putting their like acting skills into voice acting. You may think,
Yep.
oh, it doesn't change it. It does. There's a reason why professional studios and everything when they're recording, like in the for stuff, they don't do it in their closets. Because sometimes like when you see Hugh Jackman in the recording studio for Logan, he's running around. He's kind of he's throwing his body around because he's trying to make himself sound like he's fighting.
Hmm.
So, but I mean, it we might one day get there, and you know what? That's kind of why you have a lot of VAs who were YouTubers, but they are so good that they end up doing professional dubbing. Like I know a lot of people who
Sort of.
like,
That's keyword. Sort of.
yeah, they're not. What I'm saying is like example like Rice Pirate and Tomomoto, the ones two guys from Oni Plays, like not from only Oni Plays, they had their own work, but like they were just dudes who would just do stuff on Newgrounds, and then suddenly they're actually Rice Pirate has some voices in Sekiro, even or Tomar, that's his name. Like he's in some like seeing them in like Final Fantasy 7, even if they're just small roles, is like wow, you know. But they've been doing it for years
Yep.
too, so I know there's not a lot, but it's just that it's okay. Just maybe one there are some good VAs out there, but my issue is that for female VAs, they almost sound a dime a dozen the same. Like they all try to play off that cute like anime girl voice, but it just doesn't work because it feels, I don't know,
Because you're not trying to
play a character.
be, yeah,
They're trying. It's because they're trying to
you're
emulate
just
the
trying to make them
Japanese voice
sound like
too.
a character instead of just, yeah,
And that's another problem too. It's just like You don't need to sound exactly like the VA. Like if they're doing the Q voice, they probably can do that naturally. I don't know, but I think
And and yeah, it's like you got to be the character, not the voice, not the voice actor.
yeah,
That's a common mistake that they make all the time.
yeah. I think we're kind of losing traction, so I guess we can just wrap it up here. Anything that you want to say for closing statement?
I'm already ready for the new Melted Blood whenever it comes out. I got my arcade stick, got my dongles. It's like we gotta make it work. It's like,
Yeah,
and I got two trash cans, so let's go.
yeah. All right. Hopefully in a few hopefully in a few months I'll actually have some progress going on the game I'm developing. I don't want to show anything yet because I want it to be a surprise. Eh, but for now, I do want this to work. I have been kind of dabbling in music too, so hopefully things will go well. But anyway, as usual, I'm your host Ed Tama 23,
And I'm a mug.
and we'll see y'all later. Y'all have a good night.